What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're having a look at the Pirate Rumble kits of Luffy versus Kaido. So we're going to be looking at Luffy in this video. There's going to be a separate video that will be uploaded dedicated to Kaido. Obviously, they're completely different units in Rumble, so we're going to be showcasing them separately. But in this video, as I said, focusing on Luffy, and we've got a couple of different clips showing how good or bad, we'll discuss that in this video, he will be in Rumble. So before we actually do that, I want to jump into talking about his kit, because we need to understand what he actually does so we can see how he performs in the Rumble matches. So in Rumble, he is purely focused on buffing quick type characters. So his Rumble ability will give your quick allies 6 health, 6 speed, and 3 defense, which is very good defensively focused Rumble ability. It then says that if there is 50 seconds or more time left, so basically in the first 50 seconds of the game, your entire team also receives level 6 attack and level 3 defense. So it totals up for 6 health, 6 speed, 6 defense, and 6 attack. That's already a fantastic Rumble ability, no issues at all. And then in the final 50 seconds of the game, he gives himself level 8 attack, level 8 defense, and level 5 special CT increase. So instead of giving your allies the further attack buff and a minor defense buff as well, he then transfers that to himself in the last 50 seconds, being very, very selfish in that last 50-second period, but it's great, providing a lot of attack bonuses, higher defense bonuses for himself, and a lot more opportunities for him to launch his Rumble special. Speaking of that Rumble special, 32 CT, which is very respectable. It targets your quick teammates for level 6 attack, level 3 special CT increase for 25 seconds. He then goes ahead and targets 3 enemies with high HP for 1.2 damage 2 separate times that ignores defense. So pretty decent damage overall. 1.2 times multiplier is obviously relatively low, but it is damage through defense, so being able to apply damage that is just ignoring the defensive stat altogether, it doesn't really matter that the multiplier is that low because the damage is still going to be incredibly solid. It then says that if you have 50 seconds or more left on the clock, so in the first 50 seconds of the game, he targets one of your quick allies, not including himself, with low special CT for a 50% CT reduction. So he basically speeds up one of your quick allies by 50%, so it's great, allowing you to launch your specials more quickly. And then if it's the final 50 seconds of a game, then he targets your quick teammates for a 50% chance of haste. So it is only a 50% chance of occurring, but it does target all of your quick allies. So there can be really cool situations where he launches his special, he does his damage through defense, and then like all of your quick allies just go to the top of the order to perform their specials. So it is a little bit of RNG. I definitely prefer Kaido, but between both Luffy and Kaido in Rumble, I think Kaido is a little bit better. We'll talk about him in a separate video, as I said. But Luffy has some interesting dynamics that may be pretty useful to try and abuse in this content. In terms of his resistances, he does evade Force Out, which is what Int Luffy is good at, so that's good that he evades that. He also evades Paralysis, which is kind of whatever, and 30% damage reduction against strength enemies. So as for the team composition that I have in this video, I don't know if this is the best team comp for Luffy, but this is what I have come up with. So I've got the Legend Uta, which is going to be able to recharge our specials faster, as well as providing consistent buffs for our team. We also have Tezora for increasing our special CT, and I do feel like we needed like another big heavy hitter character, and I feel like Quick Momonosuke provides that. I could have probably invested a bit more EXP to get him to level 120 at least, to make him a bit stronger, but even still at level 99, he's still a very solid aspect for this team. And then the last 4 characters are obviously going to be Rumble characters. We've got Rumble Shiryu, we've got Inazuma, we've got Smoothie, and Whitebeard. Just relatively good quick units. I don't have characters like Fujitora or Blue Jam or Chemi, etc. I think those units would also be pretty good options too. As I said, I don't know if this is the best optimal team out there, but let's go ahead and showcase this team in Pirate Rumble and see how it performs. So having a look at our first matchup here is going to be against the challenge difficulty of Marigold. This has got some pretty threatening characters on it. You've got like Final Tap Kid, which is, to be honest, featured in most of these challenge difficulty strength fights due to just the raw damage that he's capable of providing, as well as, you know, Kuma on the bench, so even when you get deeper into the game, you still got to watch out for Kuma. There's also Vivi on the front line, which has the potential to special bind our characters, which is honestly one of the things that can really hurt us, is action bind, special bind. Those things really suck in Rumble to deal with, and if you don't have characters that can resist that, it can be pretty detrimental for us. But honestly, like, it wasn't really super difficult, honestly. I mean, you do see the Boa Hancock on the opponent's side of the field, which can inflict confusion. That can also be a pretty hefty thing. I mean, Boa Hancock characters are the only characters in the game at the moment, I think, that can inflict the confusion mechanic in Rumble, as well as S-Snake, of course. So being able to avoid that is also kind of key to making sure that, you know, we can do as much damage as we possibly can. And one of the things that I found through using this team so far is a lot of the time we have Momonosuke launch his special first, which means that when Luffy launches his special, there's a very good chance that he's going to give the 50% special CT reduction to Momonosuke. And if that is the case, then it just makes the Momo even more potent, because he already does a lot of damage, and then he does like damage through defense. He can special bind the opponent as well. So having Luffy being able to make that Momo special launch a lot faster, get it to launch multiple times per quest is great, as well as having Shiryu on the front line. If he launches his special in the first 30 seconds, he can also potentially special bind the opponent's strength focused characters, which makes this team a lot easier to deal with strength units, because some of those strength teams you can come up against in Rumble are pretty annoying, especially with characters like Kobe and the Film Red Luffy, which can just decimate your teams no matter what color you end up running. Moving on to the next one here, which is versus Sandersonia, a relatively similar looking team. However, it does have Toki on the front line, which can help reverse their specials to launch their special faster. There's also Legend Jack, which is very annoying because of the consistent health cuts and defense that he can provide to his side of the field. And a little bit different from the previous team is that Kuma is currently on the front line. So on the front line, we're going to deal with Final Tap Kid, and we have Kuma. So we need to be careful about this one, because especially in challenge difficulty, where these characters have enhanced statistics where they normally wouldn't have this level of power. So we do have to be a little bit careful about that. But you do see Uta launching her special within the first like 20 seconds of a game, which is fantastic for giving us a little bit of special cooldown. I will admit that Uta's special cooldown that she does provide to the team, it is 10%, but it's pretty negligible. It doesn't help that much unless if like the character that, you know, is about to use their special doesn't have their special quite yet, and then you can go ahead and like just get it. Like, it does happen sometimes, but more often than not, the Uta effect is just kind of there to help you get additional statistics to make your team more potent in terms of their damage as well as taking damage. So we're using Luffy's special here. You're going to do a pretty decent amount of damage with that damage through defense, and it does go ahead and target that Momonosuke for the 50% CT reduction. And as you can see, Momo is almost ready to launch again, which is fantastic for us. Tezora is a great option for this team as well, because not only does it, with his Rumble ability providing the defense and the special CT reduction, but like Tezora's special is actually super good, providing good fixed damage and then further defense for our squad. The third matchup here is going to be against the Sasaki team. This one does have King on the front line, which is another Rumble Rare recruit that you do have to be very, very careful of, because if he launches his special, that will probably knock something out. The good thing about that, though, is that King has a very high special CT, so the chance of him getting his special is pretty low. But obviously things can happen in Rumble where your characters target the wrong units, or characters get put in really weird positions where they're just unhittable, and then they're able to just sit at the back and charge their special. That has happened multiple times before. But you know, honestly, the way that I see it is that King is probably a better bench unit, because if someone with special CT that is really, really high gets knocked out, that character comes in, replaces them, gets their special CT, and then King is like almost fully charged, ready to go. So that's the way that I see it personally. But still, you see at this point here, Momonosuke using his special relatively early, and then Luffy coming in straight after him to do really good damage to the opponent, almost getting a knockout. charging Momonosuke to get him ready to go, and then Tezora can come in and do a bunch of damage, which can potentially get some knockouts here because they are at relatively low HP levels, does a bunch of damage, further defense, and then we're pretty much good to go. And then Uta consistently coming in every 20 seconds or so to reverse our special CT by 10%, give us further statistics for attack and defense. It just works out really, really well. But as I said, I'm not 100% sure if this is like the most optimal way to build the Monkey D. Luffy on a quick team, but from what I've experienced thus far, this team has worked really, really well, and I will consistently use this team against strength teams until something changes, or potentially there are going to be more optimal ways to utilize Luffy on Pirate Rumble teams. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
叩き落とす